You ready? Mr. Temporary Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park on February 18th, 2010 to order. On roll call, Councilman Catamagna? Here. Castiglia? Here. Truinsky? Here. Boncino? Here. Work? Here. Conboy? Here. Mayor Mola?
Here.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Will everyone please rise for a prayer and flag salute? O God, our Father, we ask you to bless this meeting with we trust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231 of Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires at the commencement of each meeting a statement by the presiding officer, now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements of this meeting have been posted and published in an annual notice in the Record of Hackensack and the Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk as well as in the public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1st, 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a presentation by the police department. It's going to be on the slide video, so we're going to have to shut the lights, and when I give the cue to our videographer, he will do it. But I do want to mention that this is not our regular borough clerk. This is our borough attorney, Brian Giblin. Our clerk, Keith Kasmark. His wife had a baby 2 days ago, and he's at home. So we put the agenda together. I worked with one of the new employees that we have. Our deputy clerk was ill, and she came in only half a day yesterday. She didn't come in today. So I worked with the new girl to try to put an agenda together. Today, Mrs. Tully came in and put 2 more items on the agenda that we didn't see. So everybody here has the new agenda. Please use that instead of the other one. We're making do with what we have, and it's been very difficult with that. And Mrs. Tully, who is our deputy clerk, hurt her right hand. It's got a cast on it. So we had to use everybody else. And I'd like to publicly thank some of the other employees, Laurie Spervier, Barbara Despodo came in to help, and a couple of the other employees to lend a hand because we were so short-handed today with the snow and yesterday's snow and so forth. So I'd like to thank everybody, and I'd like to thank Mr. Giblin, our attorney, for doing this for us. At this time, I would like to call up our police chief, Mr. Chief Don Grassolino, our deputy chief, Mr. John Palmieri, and our PBA president, Dave Myers, is here. So what we're going to do for the people who are watching this on video, we're going to close the video camera because it's going to be dark here, and then we'll turn it on when he's concluded. Thank you. Okay, we ready to go?
Yeah, it's Brian.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a cell phone, will you please turn it off? Do not put it on the vibrate mode. Just turn it off for us completely. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Attorney, if you will.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinances on first reading, Resolution 62-10. Be resolved that an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Chapter 32 thereof, entitled Subdivision, to change the definition of minor subdivision, be passed and adopted on first reading. Be it resolved that a hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, March 4th, 2010, at 8 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. And Mayor, there is one change on this ordinance. at the request of Councilman Truinsky, the last sentence of the ordinance in Section 1, after the period, taking the period out, will continue, and shall not be subject to the 5-year limitation restriction contained in the preceding sentence. So it's just a small modification to make clear what the earlier portion of that paragraph...
Okay, that can be added in before it's sent on to the...
Yes,
paper.
and I'll make that change and send it into the clerk tomorrow.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Chewinski, Mr. Catamagna, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
I missed my discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
You went a little fast for me. No, I'm going to vote yes on this on the first reading, so this way the planning board can get a chance to take a look at it, and we'll get some feedback from them. Just wanted to bring that up. Thank
Okay.
you.
By law, it must go to the planning board for any comments that they have. Continue the roll, please.
Council members Truinsky?
Yes.
Monsino?
Yes.
Work?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We're going to go a little slower. Mr. Giblin is new at this, so if we're going too fast, Brian, just hold your hand up.
Okay. Resolution 63-10. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Administration, whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 4th, 2010, that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Administration, pass final reading. We need a public hearing on this one.
May I have a motion open to the public, please?
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Chewinski, Mr. Castiglia, all in favor, opposed, so ordered. This ordinance is to change the table of organization for our police department. It will now have one police chief. The deputy chief will be eliminated. 2 captains, which is the same as we have now. 2 lieutenants, we now have 4, so we'll be down 2 lieutenants, and 4 sergeants. We're down, we have now 6. The maximum of 31 patrolmen, which would give us a total number of police officers at 40. Ladies and gentlemen, this ordinance is prospective, which means that we're not firing anybody. When the position becomes vacant, it will not be refilled. In other words, we have 6 sergeants, we'll only fill it to 3, and 4 lieutenants will only be 2, and so forth. Okay, so we have that. Does anybody have any questions on that? If there are no questions from the audience, may I have a motion to shut the meeting to the audience?
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, second. Mr. Boncino, all in favor? Opposed? May I have a motion to adopt, please? Mr. Boncino, second.
Second.
Mr. Chewinski, any discussion? Any discussion by anybody? Okay. This is, as I said, a prospective ordinance. If and when, and there may be some retirements within the next year or 2, if and when these positions become vacant, they will not be filled, and that would come out to, as of today, if we eliminated those positions today, we would save approximately $700,000 in salary. So it will probably be more than that as they're vacated in future years because everybody's salary goes up. That's it? Oh, okay, I thought you wanted me. Okay, so that will happen, but no one is going to lose their position as of today. They will maintain those positions, and there'll be a maximum of 31 patrolmen. Okay? This whole thing is huge in the way of holding down some salaries in the budget for the community. And the council and I are also looking at, if we have a retirement and we have any additional money, we were looking at hiring dispatchers and putting other police officers on the road for the dispatchers. when that happens, okay? Call the, anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it.
All right, call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Krawinski?
Yes.
Monsino?
Yes.
Work?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
Motion passes. Mayor, we have a consent agenda. On the consent agenda is Resolution 64-10, which is the transfer resolution. Resolution 65-10 to renew 3.2 miles of rail project. Resolution 66-10, change order number 1, DLS Contracting, Inc., 2009 road resurfacing project, and I believe that's a reduction, Mayor, of $101,324.20. Resolution 67-10, refunds for Rosalind Polanco and Ann Tepper, the Recreation Department. Resolution 68-10, appoint volunteer firefighter Gabriel Orozco. Resolution 69-10, appoint volunteer firefighter Luke Stachura. Resolution 70-10, Fire Department approval of a coin toss. Resolution 71-10, authorizing the payment of bills. Resolution 72-10, confirmation of checks. Resolution 73-10, confirmation of payroll. Resolution 74-10, authorized shared services agreement with Bergen County. And Resolution 75-10, retain the services of Borough Auditor Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins, LLP.
May I have a motion to accept the calendar?
So moved.
Mr. Catamania, Mr. Castiglia, any discussion? I'd just like to point out one thing. We have a transfer resolution, which means we still, under the 2009 year, we can transfer money from one department to another department. And that's what we did, $55,000 from various departments to $55,000 to other various departments. And one of the items we have here is transferring $27,000 into our street area lighting. And I just want to point that out, that most people think that the street lights are given to us by public service. We pay for the street lights, we pay for the traffic lights. So that, when you want to know why the budget does increase at times, all the time, your public service bill goes up. When it goes up for you, we have thousands of street lights, and each one goes up. So this is why we ran short in this account, and that's what we have to do to fulfill that obligation. Call the roll, Mr. Gibler.
Council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Krawinski?
Yes.
Monsino?
Yes.
Work?
Yes.
And Conboy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Committee reports, Mr. Work?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just to go over some items from the Department of Health. Once again, they will be holding more H1N1 free vaccination clinics. They will be held at Elmwood Park Health Department, 182 Market Street. They'll be holding 4 on Monday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. In the courtroom. The dates for the Mondays are March 1st, 2010, April 5th, 2010, May 3rd, 2010, and June 7th, 2010. And they will be also holding 4 more on Tuesday morning from 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. And those clinics will be held at the clinic room on the first floor. The dates for those clinics will be February 16th, March 16th, 2010, May 18th, 2010, and June 15th, 2010. And also, two other items that they hold. They also hold each month on every third Tuesday. The Department of Health has a public health nurse, and they hold adult health consultation clinics free of charge. And basically, this allows the adult residents in Elmwood Park to come talk about about their health concerns, and if they want to get a blood pressure reading, they can also get that. But basically, that's held every Tuesday, and I have dates for those. The dates for those are, like I said, Tuesday, March 16, 2010. They're Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., May 18, 2010, and June 15, 2010. And one other item, the homeowners meeting will be held next Wednesday. The date on that is February 24th, and it's held at the American Legion at 7:30. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Conboy, Councilman Conboy?
Thank you, Mayor.
Just a couple of quick updates on some items that are happening down at our recreation center. The rec is hopefully in a few weeks to come. Within a few weeks to come, they should be launching their new online registration. So for the parents that are in the audience and those that will hopefully catch this on TV or online, we have hooked up with a company, the rec board, along with our director, did a lot of research, had several meetings with various vendors and companies, and we're going to have available for our residents who don't have the ability maybe to get down to the rec center, who want to sign their children up for any of our sports programs sponsored by the rec, or like our summer camp, which information on summer camp will be going out shortly in the children's backpacks. You'll be able to do this from the ease of your home on your computer. You will still have to come in and verify some of your residency, but at least would ease the process along for you, and it gives you also payment options. Of course, then you can do it by credit card. So they're working on that. That's new. It's never been done before. So they try to be aggressive down there and very friendly to our residents to be able to get things done. Also, I want to commend the commission, the rec commission, and our director, and even the mayor and council reviewed it with our borough attorney. For the first time, to anyone's knowledge, we are putting forward a field usage permit process. The council had a chance to see it over. Our borough attorney looked it over for all of our proper language. Many municipalities, we're probably one of only a few maybe, again, I don't have exact stats on that, but many municipalities, and we did a lot of surveys. The survey pile must have been this big, of other towns that charge fees. And this is not fees that we're looking to charge our residents. What we're trying to do is our DPW works so hard in maintaining our fields and our usage. This mayor and council over the years have put monies in through open space to enhance our parks and our facilities. We want to just protect that. We want to be friendly to our neighbors or anybody else who'd like to use it, but many of the towns charge a lot of money. And we just want to ensure that our areas are just not open for everyone and that we're maintaining our properties. And it's a great thing to be doing. Like I said, many of the municipalities are doing it. So it's just to reassure that our properties are staying safe, our parks will always be there in great shape for the use of our residents whenever they choose to use them. Again, on the finance front, we're all seeing pieces in our mailboxes where we discussed at our work meeting. Our department heads are starting to submit information. I'm sure all of you have seen it on the radio or in the newspaper, just what is happening at the state level with our governor. He's already told all the school boards, start using your reserve, be ready. I believe this week he announced about a 15% less you can get in aid. That will certainly impact us as a municipality, because if folks remember at the end of the day, and you're probably getting tired of me saying it, at the end of the day, we only represent a very small portion. What we control here, that we can control on your tax bill, it's a very small portion, like 25% of it. The rest is either county, and so like 70% of it is the Board of Ed. So we're going to be working really hard. We're finding ways to do things we could do here. You've been hearing me update you, and I'll give you information more on that as we move along. I would just on two notes, just want to welcome Alexander Kazmark to our life here, and all of our wishes and blessings go out to the newborn baby Alexander and his family. He did come a little early, so we want to wish him all the best. And on a personal note, maybe not the forum for it, but I want to take this opportunity because so many residents, like many of you, maybe some even here in the room, I fell victim of our economy, was out of work for a while, but I received so many great emails and little just, we're thinking of you notes from residents who see me out there working hard for you, either here or out there, and sending me notes. So I just want to take this opportunity on a personal note to thank everybody for those words of encouragement. I have gone back to work, so thank you very much. And for those of our residents that are still out of work, I'm still praying for you guys and hope you get back to work soon, too. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'm certainly pleased, we're all pleased you're back working again, and if you could bring that cold you seem to be getting back to where you got it from, we'd appreciate that too.
I'm back to work, that's what happens.
Thank you.
You benefit from it. I speak less.
Mr. Vocino?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to start off to thank Chief Ingrassalino for the comprehensive report he gave us on the police activities for 2009. I guess the one takeaway is we should put some money for some extra memory in the budget for his laptop, so future technical problems. But the one thing that's very telling in the report, in the data, is there was a step decreasing in crime if you look over the 8 or 9 year period. And it's very telling if you analyze line by line the data. They're doing a very good job. And I guess it's very timely we had the report. As the mayor discussed, we are making changes to the table of organization that affect the supervisory positions in the police department that over time will reduce the management positions from 13 down to 8. And the takeaway there is that we're making these changes. We're not making them blindly. We're working in concert with our police department, and they are data-driven based on the progress that the police department is making. On Saturday night, I attended the Ambulance Corps installation dinner dance along with the mayor and some council members, and it was a very good night out for our first responders. That night's really for them. But I'd like to thank Deb Baroni for serving as chief in 2009. I enjoyed working with her, and I want to wish Pete Pius the best of luck as he takes on the role of chief for 2010. The Ambulance Corps is also having a fundraiser on April 24th at the American Legion. It'll be a comedy night and fundraiser. I'll have more information as the date approaches. And I missed the last public meeting, and I know we covered a couple of areas in terms of energy audits. I just wanted to review them briefly again. We had PSE&G in to perform audits of our municipal facilities, the municipal building, Department of Public Works, library, and the rec building. And PSE&G, the auditor, worked with our superintendent of Public Works. They did lighting audits of the 4 buildings, and we are going to proceed with upgrading the lighting systems in the 4 buildings. And about 80% of the cost will be provided by PSE&G. The borough will take on the balance of the 20% over 2 years interest-free, and we'll realize the savings in each of the buildings by making these energy upgrades to the lighting. Along the energy lines, we're a member of the SEM. I've talked about that a number of times. The SEM went out for gas auction for a second time last week, and they entered into a 12-month contract with Woodruff Energy. So we'll be buying our gas commodity from Woodruff for the next year at a fixed price of 88.5 cents per therm. We are going to look to go to auction for electric sometime in the April time frame. So we're going to start looking at the data for the municipal facilities in March. So I'll have more information on that as that date approaches. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Pacino. Councilman Catamagna?
Oh, yes, thanks. I just want to congratulate the DPWs. They did a beautiful job during the snow days. It was very clean, and everybody was happy and very safe. Thank you. And also, what I have is for the executive.
Okay. Mr. Chewins, Councilman Chewins?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to say congratulations to our borough clerk and his wife on the birth of their son, and thank the chief for the fine report he gave us. Another note, I was at the JIF meeting, which is our joint insurance fund, which we belong to. I have a report will be on file in the clerk's office. Anybody cares to take a look and see what standing we're in on this, all right? Also, I attended the county freeholder work meeting last night, and there's, it's this big party split there, which is more Democrats than Republicans. They're spending $17,800,000, people, to redo a bridge in Hackensack. That's your county dollars. Come down to the meetings to see what's going on down there. This is amongst many other things with these, studies by lawyers, studies by engineers, and these are all first-hand jobs that they get without bidding them, some of these. I'll leave this on the clerk's desk, too, also, if you'd like to see it. I also want to say to Scott, he did a great job on the plowing, and I did have a chance to go out with him that night on the DPW truck with them. There are various problems we have with people dumping snow, like the mayor brought this up at the last meeting. They'll bring their cars out into the street, dump the snow into the road, especially right after they're done plowing. I saw it firsthand, and this is not acceptable to the town or to the borough or to the DPW, who work hard to clean the streets. Also, we have problems with people parking straight in on our cul-de-sacs. We have people who just leave their cars there for 3, 4, 5 days and don't even move them, and then when they shovel the snow out, they shovel to the middle of the road. Well, we will be addressing these items at our next work meeting with our DPW head, our attorney, and our police chief to see what kind of ordinance we come up, because no matter how we ticket some people, they just will not move their cars, which creates a problem and a hazard for them. Other note, the fire department blood drive went well. They have a lot of new members, and I know we have a new fire surgeon we're working on, and I'll bring that up in executive too, Mayor, because they do need someone right away. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Castiglia.
Thank you, Mayor. Phase 2 of the Kip Avenue improvements, it's going to consist of new water main work under the road and repaving of the road from Ann Street down to Miles Street. I believe that starts in the spring. That's being made possible through a community development block grant for about $184,000. Bergen County Mosquito Commission was in to work in Fleischer Brook. They removed some branches, trees, some other debris, but they didn't have a permit from the DEP, so they're only allowed to touch certain material. They can't clean it out completely. They can only do what they can do without a permit, so they're working on that. Any property owners that border on Fleischer Brook should keep in mind that you can't throw anything in the brook. You can't do any filling in the brook. It's a violation of DEP and also borrows stormwater regulations, so just be aware of that. Mulner Drive, the repaving will be done over there on a New Jersey Department of Transportation grant, which is also about $200,000. Now, we're going to do as much as the road as the grant money will take us. Altair, which is the 55 and older development over there, is going to reimburse us for some of the road work. They're on one side of the street, and during their construction, they ripped up some of the roads, so they'll be reimbursing us on some of that, some of the cost of that. The planning board had no meeting last week because of the snowstorm, so I really don't have anything to report there. Now, the DPW, everybody spoke about the snow already, so that takes some of my report. In the last 6 weeks, there was 8 water main breaks. The guys went out, worked on 8 different water main breaks. We're also trying to keep up with the potholes. They're basically using about 3 tons of patch a day, so that's quite a bit. And at the police department's request, they have also repaired and installed about 34 street signs. Culverts have been checked and cleared 3 times this month. And repairs to several lights down in the police department and right out here in the hallway. They've been doing some repairs. And finally, like I said, a couple of people mentioned the snow already. They did a great job on that blizzard that we had last week. I got compliments, I got phone calls. People that I work with that live in Elmwood Park were very impressed with that snowfall, the way it was taken care of. They were out on the February 9th and 10th snowfall. They were out to plow 4 times and used about 200 yards of salt.
Tons.
On the little one the other day, the little snowstorm, the February 16th one, they went out and plowed once and used about 300 tons of salt, because that was the way that storm had to be dealt with. Other than that, that's about it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Mr. Giblin,
No report, Mayor.
acting clerk, legal attorney.
No additional reports, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Castiglia indicated that we have a substantial amount of salt that was put on our roads, and that hits into the budget. Let me give you another clue onto the budget. If we have a year where we don't have snow, we don't have to spend the money, we save that money. That's your tax dollars. When we get a lot of snow, we put a lot of salting, a lot of overtime, and that costs us on the budget. So we're into the $13,000 to $15,000, maybe $17,000 in salt. Our DPW superintendent, Scott Cars, is in the back shaking his head yes. I just hope it's not more than that, but that's...
Another one coming next week.
Yeah, well, I made a phone call to former Vice President Al Gore and told him if global warming's coming, please send it here now. We need it. So that all of you and anyone watching this is a packet that I've sent out. It's quite voluminous. It is on sound barriers. We haven't given up on the sound barriers. I send this out every year so that we someday we get lucky and we'll get it. This went to the commissioner of the DOT, New Jersey DOT. It went to Bergen County Executive Dennis McNerney, who's the chairman of the NJTPA. It went to all Bergen County senators, all Bergen County Assembly representatives, Farouk Ahmad, Director of Planning and Economic Development in Bergen County, and to Freeholder Mayor Pat Lepore from Passaic County. He's the mayor of Woodland Park. He's interested in getting sound barriers because they have one small portion of their town that's not enhanced by sound barriers. We have nothing. We have nothing. We're the only town in Bergen County that doesn't have sound barriers. And if you go west of Patterson, even up those roads on Route 80, you see sound barriers up on the hills.
Don't work.
The deer are very relaxed. There isn't any noise from the cars. But here we have our dip in the road right before we get to Saddlebrook. And if you're standing there talking to anybody, you're shouting at each other because it makes that much noise. The second thing is I received a letter, mentioned this to the council, from the DOT. This is for the park and ride over on River Road that we're trying to get completed. It's from Bill Petra. I'll read it to you. It has been a while since my last update. However, Elmwood Park's Park and Ride project is moving forward. An outside consultant has been signed to the project. Now, if you want to know what government is like, we tried to get an outside consultant to do the design work. That outside consultant would be our Elmwood Park's engineering firm. They said, no, that couldn't be done. It had to be done by the DOT. Well, it appears they hired their own outside consultant. I don't know why or who, but we're glad they hired him. The consultant is in the process of conducting an assessment on the project. We had our first meeting with the consultant on February 4th, 2010. The consultant indicated that there was some more information that was needed to gather before reaching out to Mr. Petra and to us. I expressed the urgency of the project and requested that they conduct it as soon as possible. This is a park and ride right here on River Road, just south of Locust Street, that will have 200 to 300 cars able to park there. The property is there, belongs half to the state, belongs to some of us. We bought some of the property. If this goes through, we'll be reimbursed for what we paid for the property, and then any monies coming in for the park and ride by any of the commuters will go into our treasury. So it'll be helpful for us. We're being very generous by giving some of the property here in Elmwood Parks for people who need to take a bus to New York. And we're trying to be helpful. How long has it been, gentlemen? About 2 years now? 3 years? 3 years. We're still trying. Government works quickly.
Yeah.
Okay? Mr. Castiglia indicated how much salt, and I indicated how much salt we use. Just one other thing. I've been saying this for years now. We were forced last year to buy a salt shed. We always want to keep our salt covered, and we do. We kept it covered, we kept it contained, but we didn't have a shed. We had to pay $300,000 approximately for that shed. A previous engineer wanted $500,000 for the shed. So the salt is covered. It's not going into the river. It's not going into the river because it's covered in the shed. What did we do last week? We took it out of the shed, we put it on the streets, it melted the snow, it goes into the sewers, and it goes into the river. So we contain the snow as well as the shed does, but when you put it out, it goes into the river anyway, so it's contaminated the river. I asked that question to members of the Environmental Protection Agency, and they indicated to me that when it's in the salt shed, that's very nice. When we need it to do the roads, it's an emergency, and that's excusable. So there you go. Only cost us $300,000 to get that. All right? I went over the table of organization ordinance that we had second reading tonight. I'll just repeat those numbers. If they all retired today, the ones we eliminated, $695,245 we will save. Okay? As it goes on, their salaries go up, but when they leave, it's not going to be replaced, so there's a huge saving there that we have to do it. And I think Mr. Chewinski indicated, or somebody, Mr. Vocino maybe, we worked with the police chief, he's fine with this, and we're fine with it also. It's going to be a big saving, a huge saving for us when we do it. The last item, as I mentioned to the council a while back, that we're trying to get a grant from the Passaic River Coalition, from EPA, federal EPA, to do the area around the marina, from Marcal all the way up to Route 4, to see if we can clean that area up, plant some trees, make walking paths, and Dr. Filippone has submitted an application for $100,000. I contacted Congressman Rothman to make sure that they have the application. We'll be notified if we get the grant. It's only design work first, and then they will put in for the rehabilitation of the marina and the areas along that area. Hopefully we can get some of that money to do that. And I think that's it. Yes. May I have a motion to open to the public, please?
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, Mr. Boncino, any discussion, all in favor? Is there anyone in the public wish to be heard? Please step to the microphone, give us your name and your address. We only take compliments today for the snow.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Randy Rossi. I live at 397 Dye Avenue. I've got a few things I'd like to bring before the council today. I'm really here for some help.
Okay.
I've got a neighbor next to me at 399 who's a real thorn. Okay? Any of you read the article in the Record on the 10th about the woman in Rochelle Park?
Yes.
That woman looks like a saint compared to the one next to her. Okay?
The woman bothers you?
Everybody, all the neighbors around us.
Okay.
Got a real problem. I've got a problem with their roof. I've got shingles constantly every time the wind blows. They've got a gas pipe sticking out the back of their house for the dryer that runs down the back of their house and all the way down along their house, outside.
A vent pipe.
No, it's a gas pipe. Not a vent pipe, it's a galvanized gas pipe.
We have the building inspector. What's the number of that house?
399, that's why I'm here. I'd like to have these things.
Well, the building inspector's sitting in the back. He can jot that down. 399 Dye Avenue.
399 Dye Ave.
I'm concerned because these people are constantly going behind the house to bother this man, and if they step on it, it's going to crack.
Okay.
It's been there since I've been in my house for 20 years.
Very good.
The other thing I'd like to do and ask the council is there a possibility, or what is the way to go to get a nuisance law, or nuisance ordinance put in?
We have one.
This woman calls the police constantly. I've got 4 police reports here because I had to put up cameras and lights. 2 days in a row, they called the police because of my cameras. The policeman came on a camera. One day he says, cameras are fine, they're not pointing at your house. The next day, they called again. Police had to go out there again. I have motion detectors. So when they come out and they're shining on my property, police come to my house, they say, lights are fine. These people call up every couple weeks. Lights are shining. Of course they're shining because they go on when somebody hits the sensor. The other night, on the advice of my lawyer, was to hang a shade on my kitchen window, which is 6 foot wide, because their driveway looks, my kitchen window looks right over their driveway. Unlike Mr. Leader here and the other ones, they have fences between their property. I don't. I put up the shade, and here comes the police car. They called the police because I was standing looking out the window and then near the cord of the shade, and I just kept going. He's out there pointing to the lights and everything else. I finished putting the shade down. The policeman didn't even come over to me. He got back in his car and left, because that shows what kind of problem there was. There wasn't a problem. I'm asking the council, please do something about these people. Somehow, and we're talking about saving money for police. You could save a lot of money because these people running over there constantly. And they have to keep coming over. They call the police at least once a week.
It's ridiculous.
And yet you're talking about saving money for the police department, and it's frivolous.
I
These
think,
people don't belong.
I think Mr. Chewinski has brought this up, and
I've talked to you about it when you come around to
Yeah.
our houses, and I talked to Mr. Clement.
we also talked to the borough attorney about it, and I'll have him respond as soon as we hear Mr. Leaders.
I would really appreciate it, especially the gas pipe, because that scares me.
That can be checked out by the,
It's
by the,
back there, and I open my garage door from in the house.
right.
We're going to lose a lot of
We'll have the building department go over and check that out.
and the roof.
And, okay,
It's,
If the roof is...
whatever we can do, I don't know if we can tell them to fix the roof.
Yeah, for shingles,
well,
it can't hold it.
I'm constantly fixing up shingles off my property.
Yeah, but I don't know if we can tell them to fix their own roof. I don't know, can we, Brian?
Very good. Maintenance.
Well, it's
Yeah,
an eyesore
okay.
too.
Well, then he'll check that out.
It's an eyesore.
Okay.
It's litter.
Could you spell your last name for me, sir?
GROSSI.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know the house you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know it
They
well.
ordered you when you were out last night. Yes, they did.
It's a very odd setup. I still don't understand it myself.
There was a garage.
Mr. Adamo is on the other side,
Yes, he is.
and when you're at his house for a function, it's very weird. I don't understand it myself.
They bother him too.
Yeah.
Mr. Levy, you have anything you wanted to...
Oh, I have a lot to say.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Could you spell your name too, sir, please?
Jeff Leader, L-E-I-D-E-R.
And your
Most
address,
of you know me,
your address, sir?
excuse me,
Your address.
34 Stone Avenue. Most of you know me, I'm sure all of you know my story.
Yep.
It strikes me pretty funny, I come in here this evening and Chief goes up, first thing he puts up on the projection screen was our mission, to ensure the safety and the welfare of our residents. Well, let me explain something to you, Mayor and Council. The police department is not taking care of the welfare of these children. It could break my heart right now that people could be sitting in your seats and in the police department and don't do nothing. When I have this 3-year-old who can comprehend, and I'm starting to get emotional.
Would you just
When I
face
get him out of
us?
his car, when I get him out of his car seat in my driveway, and my 3-year-old is walking down like this and he's pointing, bad lady. This is not protecting and serving me. Okay? The reason I'm here tonight is not to point fingers or to stare up a hornet's nest, but my reason here tonight is to fight for my family. Okay? And I'm shaking because this is my life since I moved there. I've been in this town now 40 years. 40 years I've been in this town. I've always called Elmer Park my home. Okay? I've never wanted to leave here. This has been my home. I volunteered my time, my services for the love of Elmer Park. I've coached basketball for St. Leo's. I've coached the Bombers. Everybody knows my father originated the Elmer Park Ambulance Corps, and my brother, etc., etc. This is my home. This is our home. So my dream was to buy a house, get married, raise children in my home. I never expected to have this nightmare in my home. Since late 2005, when I moved into 34 Stone Ave, the police have arrived at my house over 100 times. Never received once that I received a ticket or summons. Example of it, watering her house, noise playing ball with my son, playing in the pool with my son, trimming my shrubs and gardening in my backyard, flags blowing in my backyard. This is where it gets me nervous and I stay awake at night. Now put yourself in my position. We're all fathers here, most of us. You're in the pool with him, okay? And you're playing around. How many daddies say, I'm going to get you, I'm going to bite your hiney? This woman is going to call typhus on me. And the reason I say that is because last summer, I'm in the yard with my mom and dad talking about a dead bird I found in my yard when I was gardening. My niece is a big animal advocate. And I told him I took it and I threw it in the garbage. Okay, well, this woman was listening in her window. I get a call. I'm at Ken McDonald's, daughter's graduation. I get a call from my lawyer. You're in trouble. I said, what's the matter? Bergen County prosecutor is investigating you. I said, for what?
Oh, you're gonna be kidding.
For killing birds. My heart dropped. I left the graduation at the arena and ran home, crying on the way home with my wife in the car. The investigation went on. I was being investigated. Okay? I've got maybe one parking ticket in my life. I'm getting investigated by the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. I said to my lawyer, what could happen to me? She says, if you are found guilty, you can't do time for this because this is animal cruelty. Obviously, the investigation went on.
Excuse me, what kind of bird was it?
It was a small bird, okay? It was laying in the ground, you know, like a little chickadee bird.
I found one in my yard, too. I better be careful.
But this is where it gets hairy.
I can't believe that.
This is the report that she made, that she witnessed Mr. Leader take the nest out of one of my trucks, place it on the ground with the baby birds in there, and I threw a rock on it and killed the birds.
Oh, Jesus.
That was the report, okay? Well, this is where it's crazy, and the next meeting, Kenny O'Donnell, Ray Grossi, myself, and my other neighbor, Stanley, will come to here and explain to you, after that situation, all of a sudden, we started finding dead birds in our yard. I found 2 dead birds in my pool. Okay? They're in dead yard to Kenny's yard. And all the neighbors said, wow, why do we all got these dead birds now? And the big joke was, to put light on it, maybe the bird killer did it. And I was the bird killer, okay? That's how everybody was joking about it. All right?
Nuts.
A couple of other things I wanted to bring up. A couple of the councilmen here, I'm not going to point fingers, damn it, are really helping me. And I appreciate everything that they're doing for me. But I don't feel that me raising my fence in my backyard, or like Mr. Grossi putting up surveillance camera, or more shrubs, is the way I should have to live in Elm Park. Where do I live? In Elm Park, or do I live in a prison? I don't think I should have to do that stuff, okay? Now what they're starting to do, as currently as a few days ago, every time I get out of my car, my wife and I, they're taking pictures of me and my children. So help me God if these pictures show up on the internet of my children. You know what's happening? It's festering, and nobody's doing anything about it. And eventually it's going to explode. And somebody's ultimately going to be responsible. Either it's going to be our police department, or council, or me. One of us is going to get responsible for what's happening. What's happening now is by her calling the police constantly on me, and this is where I get upset. She's ruining, and they're both ruining the lives of my children. My children are starting to become afraid of the police department. They're afraid of the police. The police don't even want to come in my backyard anymore. For the simple reason, they don't want to face it. Nobody wants to deal with this woman. There's not one person I know that wants to deal with her. My interpretation, police department or the council or whoever it may be, is afraid. You people are afraid of this.
Wait. I object to that. This council...
No, I don't.
I do. This council is not afraid. There, whatever laws we have to follow...
Nothing has been done.
We'll have the attorneys answer that. As to the police... Wait a minute, don't say... Let me just go. I don't want to argue with you because you've got a strong case. But if the police have been there all these times, somebody's responding. Now, they're not responding to your wishes, but they're responding, so somebody's going. Go ahead, finish it.
But nobody should be going to my house when I'm not doing anything.
Well, I'm not arguing that
I
with
didn't
you.
come into...
I'm defending the council, saying that we're not responsible for that. We understand what you're saying. The police have been going there. And that the borough attorney will be able to respond to what else they can do. I remember him telling us what we can do, what the police could do with getting excessive calls from one resident, but I'll let him answer that.
Well, how come nobody has done anything about it for 5 years that I've been complaining about it?
I can't answer that question.
The reason is because everybody knows the history of these people, and people stay away from them. Because the old quote is, it's not in my backyard. And I totally understand when it comes to dollar incentives. For somebody in this town to stick their head out, their neck out on the line, it's going to cost money because this woman will take you to court. So in other words, if it's not in my backyard, I don't have to worry about it.
We don't have to worry about that
That's the impression
either. We have an attorney who will go to court free.
I understand it, but why do I have to pay when I'm just a landscaper? I cut grass. Why do I have to be running out of my hard-earned money to defend myself when I am not doing anything, when the town or the police, where they say to protect and serve me? Nobody's protecting me. Nobody's serving me. And I am not doing anything, and this woman just gets away with it.
Well,
Okay? Now, I don't want to stay here all evening. I'm sure you know my story. Just want to just give you a couple of, I just go through police reports with me. This is one that I was, last year, I was away on vacation with me and my family. Caller, my father called the police. Owner stated his granddaughters were swimming in the pool and resident Michelle Gremowitz of 399 Dial was taking pictures of them. Patrolman responded and spoke with all parties. Gremowitz denied taking photographs of the people in the pool. Now this is where the kicker comes in, okay? As my father's talking to them, I'm not going to say the patrolman's name, but as my father's talking to the patrolman in the front of my house, and I had to hear the report, she calls up to Destiny again and tells the police that the grandfather's in the backyard now giving me the middle finger and making obscene gestures to me. So the patrolman scratched his head. He's like, I'm in the front of the house with the grandfather. What's she talking about? Nothing was ever done about that. Now she's lying to the Elm Park Police Department. And I have it right here. Another thing that occurred, which is embarrassing, okay?
Remember, wait a minute, if it's very embarrassing, we're on TV.
It is. And you know what? I'm glad the TV's seeing this
Okay.
because this fact is...
I just don't know how embarrassing it is.
And I want the world to know my nightmare.
That's fine.
Okay? I'm not mentioning names in here. I'm just explaining my nightmare, which I have the right as a taxpayer.
You just read the name.
Which name did I say?
The lady who's there.
Okay?
You read the report.
August 2nd, two residents, okay, reported loud group in the rear yard of 34 Stone Ave. Officer checked the residence. There were people in the backyard, no excessive noise observed. The two residents was my wife and my wife's co-worker. They're both school teachers. It was my two kids in the pool with her 4-year-old daughter. Okay, it was in the morning. When the police showed up in the backyard, the little girl started crying. She didn't understand why police officers are in the backyard. That's embarrassing. That's just total embarrassment for children and for my wife. I was working at the time. Caller reported loud music, patrol dispatched by phone to precluded scanner. They didn't even talk dispatch because this woman has a scanner, so she listens to the police before they show up. So you talked on their cell phones, it says it here. To monitor the report, patrol reported that there was no music and the residents were just having a normal conversation and not a violence of the ordinance. Caller reported the construction was started at 6:45 a.m. When the officer attempted to contact me, I wasn't even home. You know where I was on vacation. Okay? Even when I go away, I get haunted. All right? I've been to court with this woman 5 times already. Cost me 5 times with an attorney. I've been to public family mediation in the chambers in the back. Nothing has prevailed with this woman. My wife has wrote a nice letter. And you know what this all comes down to? Because when I moved in, and Mr. Conboy mentioned it before, he knows of the property, is about a fence that was installed by previous homeowners before I purchased the home. Okay? When I bought the home, I didn't even know these people. It was because a fence was put in legally by the past homeowners, and that's why this all has, now I have the problem. Okay? The fence was put up with a survey, it was legal, and you can see it in the building department, everything was legit on that fence. And she doesn't like it, and she has a personal vendetta against me. Now, the reason she started with Mr. Grossi and Mr. Adamo and everybody else is because they came to bat for me. And I feel terrible for this gentleman because now he has a problem because he was worried about me. He's in court now. Now I'm his witness. So just keep in mind one thing before I leave. And like he said, I'd like to see the ordinance to be passed. I'm out of money. I need help. I really need help. I don't have a lot of money. And, thank you for your time. And just do me a favor. See these two kids? Keep those in your bag. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody because I know a lot of you personally. I don't want to be disrespectful to you either, Mayor. But I'm desperate. I need help. Maybe he doesn't understand yet, this child here. But this one here is 3. We're all grandparents here, or we all have children. I can't live like this anymore, and I'm not going to.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Mr. Giblin, you want to comment at all?
Yeah, I can. Mr. Leader, if I could just suggest a couple of things, and I'm not sure if you've been told this by the court or by the prosecutor or by the police department. To some extent, the police, when they receive a call, even if it's somebody who's cried wolf 1,000 times before, if somebody makes a call and arguably there's some kind of a violation going on, they have an obligation to go out and check. However, I will speak to the chief and make sure that they're not going out on calls that would not rise to the level of being a violation, even if what the caller said is true. So, for example, some of those incidents that you talked about, even if what the caller said was in fact happening, there's nothing the police could do about it anyway. So I'll have a discussion with them about that. The other thing is you told us about a couple of places where she in effect files a false police report. And I would encourage you to bring that up the next time it happens, and talk to the police department about that as well, where they can file a criminal complaint against her or anybody else for filing a false report if that can be proven. And it seems that in at least one of those cases, right from the report, it could be proven. The last one would cost you money, but you do have a right to go to Superior Court and get a civil restraining order to prevent her from harassing you. That's not something that the town can help you with, but you do have the right to do that.
What I just wanted the town to do is to see if they can pass some ordinance, okay, which I know other towns have it, okay, that if it's a frivolous charge, a frivolous call, and they don't find anything wrong, especially in our situation, they go around there and write her a ticket. Okay, that's some type of ordinance. I don't know.
Well, there's already a state law about filing a false police
How come
report.
that hasn't been done over 100 times?
I'm going to have that discussion. I don't know,
It's
sir.
between you. It's an invading of my
No, it's not
privacy.
between you and him, it's everybody
It's an
here.
invasion of my privacy now.
I understand that.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
That when I'm in the backyard with my child, and here comes the police department again, it's an invasion of my privacy.
Right.
You know, people might chuckle and laugh about this, but then everybody's going to go home and go
Why
sleep
don't we-
and
excuse
go
me.
put their head on their pillow and go to
That's right.
sleep. My nightmare is going to continue tomorrow. My nightmare will continue when I get home tonight. If any of you want to, come in my vehicle and we get home, and when I pull in my driveway, who's going to be standing at the window with a camera taking my picture? That's my wish.
Let's have our borough
I would also like you, sir, if you could also look into, which just transpired recently, and we do have a report of it, and it's on file in the police department with one of the detectives. She did threaten to counter it.
Threatened?
She threatened to counter it. She threatened the building department, and I'm not pointing fingers on this, John might know about this already, that she said, I will chop down that fence, and I will burn down that shed, or otherwise I will take matters into my own hands. And the police department did investigate it. Now, to me and my lawyer, and the gentleman said this in front of my lawyer the last time I was in court, my lawyer said to me, that's a credible threat against a township official, and we should be looking into this.
Okay.
Just so you know that.
I'll talk to Mr. Bonanno as well.
Thank you. Anyone else who wish to be heard?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Mine is minor. I live at 355 Elm Street, between Elm, Orchard and Grove. There's a parking situation that I need to be heard on. I gave the mayor the pictures, if he can look it over, along with yourselves and the police department to see if we can rectify that problem, because there are residents within that area just keep getting tickets on a monthly basis. And there's parking signs there that are no longer feasible for that area. They've just been there for over 10, 20 years now. That's all I have.
Let me just comment while you're here, Mr. Diaz.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, he gave me a group of pictures here. This is the little deli that's on Elm Street. There are some signs up there, 15-minute parking, 30-minute parking between Grove and Orchard, which is his whole side of the street, 10, 15 or 30 minutes. Across the street, there was nothing there. They just recently, last 2 years or so, put up two-family houses there. There's signs that are erected there, no parking this side when there's snow. And, well, if you're not parking on that side, everybody's crossing over to the other side. And we have some people in the audience who did get tickets because they violated the 15-minute and the 30-minute sign ordinance. I checked with Dave Myers, who is our traffic patrolman. He is going to see if we do have an ordinance. Someone indicated those signs may be illegal. We will see if they are illegal, and then we'll pursue it from that point. I'll give these pictures down to the police department and see how we can rectify it. All right? I don't see why, and until you brought it up, I don't know why we have 15-minute parking for the whole block for one little deli. So we'll try to handle that for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay? Thank you. Anyone else who wish to be heard? I do want to comment, and I'll close the public portion of the meeting. Mr. Conboy received a call, which we are taking care of. DPW did put signs up on one street because there were some signs that weren't put up, and we're taking those signs down because there was no parking on the other side of the street permanently, and then they put the signs up on the other side saying no parking when there's snow removal, so where are they going to park? They were following the ordinance that we have in the book This street was not, it was listed as a snow removal street, but the signs were never put up, and it's been 10 or 15 or 20 years since they were supposed to be put up, and I guess the men who were putting up the signs didn't look over and see the other side, so we're taking care of that. The town is growing, and we do have conflicts that come in. I've indicated to the people who did receive tickets that they have the option to go into court and explaining it to the judge. So you can do that if you choose. We can't do anything about it, but you can do that. Okay? Mr. Diaz, I have your phone number here. We'll try to get in touch with you, or you can call my office. Speak to Mrs. Burke. You know her son.
Yes.
Mr. Diaz is a state trooper, and my secretary's son is a state trooper, and they know each other. So, gentlemen, we have to do something. If there are no more questions, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. Mr. Giblin, I think we have to read something that...
Executive session, yes.
Executive session.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, whereas the governing body wishes to discuss personnel matters, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. I think we need a roll call, Mayor.
Motion, please. Mr. Bonsino, Mr. Castiglia, call the roll.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Trewinski?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Work?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
I would just like to make another comment before we close the meeting to Mr. Leader. We're going to try to do, Mr. Trewinski obviously has been very involved in this. I've been involved in it. There's just so much the town can do with an individual such as this. Mr. Giblin will talk to the police chief, try to get all these facts and figures in line, and then see where we can go. We do have these disputes between neighbors that are very difficult to handle, but I'm protective to the council. We are concerned. We're doing what we legally can do, and maybe the police have to be a little bit more vigilant and a little bit more forceful, and if there are complaints that are bordering on nuisance complaints, then Mr. Giblin will work with the police department to see what else can be done on that. Am I correct, Mr. Giblin?
Yes.
Okay, and I thank you for coming because it's just, it's out of hand. But I do want to tell you that as mayor for a few years now, we do have some neighbors who torment others. I will tell you just one. I won't tell you where or when. We have an elderly woman, doesn't have a car. The neighbor parks his car in front of her house because he wants his house to be swept. And she doesn't have a car. It upsets her tremendously. We can't do anything because you can park the car wherever you want as long as it has a registration. The person has been notified, and after about 3 or 4 months, he decided, well, it's no use getting her excited anymore. It doesn't work. He stopped. He parks in front of his own house. So we do have unwelcome neighbors in the community. Very few, I hope, and we'll try to work with you on this.
I appreciate it. I look forward to the next meeting.
Thank you. Call my office before you come to the meeting, and I'll let you know what we have resolved, okay, instead of taking your time. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Castiglia, second. Second. And Mr. Work, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen.
Brian, this is for Keith.
Hey, any houses for sale down in the neighborhood?
Winston, I'll try to...
Okay.